Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's so great to have you with our amazing panelists, Arrington, Momo, and Madeline. Today, we're going to be discussing a topic which I think is very relevant, but also really important for all of us. I think in our time today, in our society today, it's very easy, if I'm not wrong, correct me, guys, it's very easy to feel isolated. It's very easy to feel like it's either me against the world or me alone in the world. And we're going to discuss and address how, although it does feel like that many times, it's not always the case. How can we feel like we're more a part of society? How can we feel like we're more a part of the world? How can we feel like we can really make a difference even though we're just sitting at home with our computer or our iPad or our iPhone with our school? How can we make a difference in the world? So I just want to start with that question, to Arrington, to Momo, to Madeline. When you were a teenager, maybe a couple years ago, did you guys feel like I can make a difference in the world? Did that thought even cross your mind? I know we're here in a Kabbalah class talking about it, but I was just curious. Did you have dreams as a kid on how you're going to help the world? Was there ever that thought that I can do something bigger? Any of you can jump in.
I'll start. So for me, when I was a lot younger, I definitely did not think I could have an impact on the world in any meaningful way. I always thought that was something that older people did, right? That's something for later on. Right now, I'm just trying to get by my next class, my next gym class, make sure I get to school on time, this or that. But that doesn't have an impact on the world. And so, those thoughts didn't really enter my mind almost at all, especially as a teenager.
It's interesting. I saw your face and then I saw Momo as I was asking the question, and Momo was nodding. So I think you, like many of us and many of the viewers at home, feel like, okay, I'm home. What can I do to make a difference? But Momo clearly feels like he could have when he was a kid. So please, Momo, share with us your insight.
Mine was very conditional. I used to be like, yeah, if I won the lottery or something, I could probably make like a lot of people's lives a lot better. So it was always like on the condition that I got really rich really fast somehow. I could make not necessarily the whole world, but at least like within my community, a lot of people's lives better. But as a kid, I was like, okay, maybe I could be like a world famous author. I'll write some book that somehow gets to the world. Suddenly everybody's listening to me and I can share a message that's like, positive or life changing or does something for them, maybe even just inspirational. But again, on condition that I became like a world famous author, right? I never said, oh, me as a teenager, the way I am now could definitely affect the world. Not even close.
So
I don't,
yeah,
oh,
Madeline.
David, I don't know about the world, but I remember thinking that my world was very small. My world was me, my friends, and whatever was happening in my classroom. And now looking back, I think I was a little bit of a self-starter. And maybe that's a good way to frame it, right? I couldn't think about the world, but I could certainly think about the issues that we had. And I was that kid that would go complain to the teacher and say, we need to fix this. We need to start a project. We need to start a fundraiser. And looking back, now I think about it and I'm like, oh, wait, I was making a difference, but I wasn't cognizant of it because in my head, that was my own little world.
That's beautiful. It's interesting how we have like three different perspectives. One that like didn't really feel like they had the ability to influence the world. That's for the adults, which I think is super relatable. Sometimes even as an adult, I think that's for the older adults. I think that comes into my mind sometimes as well today. One was like, no, I could do it. I could change the world. I just need to win the lottery or get rich quick or become a famous author where somebody wants to hear what I have to say. And then I can use my platform for good, which I also believe many of the people that are watching would do that. Maybe we think to ourselves, we're going to become famous on TikTok, or we're going to become famous on Instagram, and we're going to be an influencer, and people are going to send us free clothes, but at the same time, we're going to use that platform for good. So I'm sure we have some of our viewers that are like Momo and Madeline, which is like the quick action. Like, okay, so there's something wrong. We got to do something about it. I can't just sit here and watch what happens, even if it's wrong. I need to find something that I can do about it. And I think that's a beautiful spectrum of a place to start of, can I make a difference in the world? Some of us feel we can't. Some of us feel like we can. Some of us feel like it doesn't matter about the world. Let's just take actions to make the world a better place right now. And I just want to just take a moment of pause, even if you could just pause the video while you're watching, just to think, before you heard all of our answers, did you think that changing the world or making the world a better place, or even something more relatable to you, did you feel like you could make a difference? Like your light, your soul, your ideas can influence on a greater scale. So just take a moment to pause the video and just think about that question for yourself. And welcome back from the pause if you've paused. And I think some of the things that might have come up is like, how is it possible, right? How is it possible? How could I make a difference from my community, from my room? How can I make a difference? And to lead us and to bridge us into the next episode, where we're actually going to speak about how the Kabbalists explain that we all do make a difference in a bigger way, and how we can start to feel more like the world and less isolated. I think I heard a story once, and I'm sure many of you have heard stories. We live in a society where all these stories do come to life. Where you hear about the pollution that's going on in the world. You hear about the waters that are getting polluted. And you're thinking like, oh my God, like I could decide that I don't want to throw trash in the ocean, but what about the billions of people in the world that are throwing trash in the ocean? How could we ever solve this problem? And then I remember reading a story about a child or a teenager that created an invention that was operated on solar power. It was like a ring, and he put a bunch of them into the ocean, and the ring started to collect all the trash. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, like, how did this teenager do it? How did he think that he could do it? He created this technology. I think it was solar powered, so it doesn't need battery. And it's just literally in the ocean starting to clean it up. And I think there's a lot of news that comes to the world that's saying, oh my God, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. But we feel sometimes like, what can we do? And I think like we're all that teenager inside that says, you know what, I see a problem. I connect with that problem. I can fix that problem. My ideas can do something. I can make a difference in the world. And I don't think if he had a doubt about himself making a difference in the world, I don't think he would have ever created that thing that is as we speak right now, currently cleaning the ocean. So I think whether you're like Arrington, whether you're like Momo, whether you're like Madeline, we all have a space to think to ourselves, we can make a difference. Our light can shine beyond the light of our room. And we will definitely be speaking about that in episode 2. But any other thoughts that you guys want to add, Arrington, Momo, Madeline, as I was speaking?
I just want to add on. I think I know the story you're talking about. It's a few years old. And recently, like a couple months ago, I saw what looked like a bigger version of that exact invention. So I'm pretty sure like that kid patented the technology and then got sponsors, and now that like what he had was a small little like test product that he was showing, but now they've actually like industrial sized these and sent them out, which is pretty crazy. It's only been a few years since he like released that idea to the world, and already he's making huge changes just because he just shared his idea with the world. He didn't necessarily do all the work himself. After showing the invention, like other people came to support him, which is, I think, very powerful.
Yeah. So definitely join us in episode 2. Your light can make a difference and will make a difference in this world. Let's find out how. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 1. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you, Momo. Thank you, Arrington, for sharing your thoughts, reminiscing on how you were when you were a teenager in perspective to changing the world. And come back to episode 2 to find out how to do it.